you go to the Hall of Fame and you see Josh Gibson, the wording is no longer going to be Josh Gibson was one of the greatest Negro Leagues hitters that ever existed. Now the conversation gets to be Josh Gibson was one of the best baseball players ever, period.
Fly ball onto the track, at the wall, it's gone! Home run!
Turns on a ball, deep right field, and gone!
What a game, what a moment. What is up, my friends? Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome into Flippin' Bats, where, man, there has been a ton that has happened around the baseball world, baseball world this week, off the baseball field this week, just big stuff. But we're going to talk about the Astros and the Mariners, that big series out there in Seattle. Jorge López of the New York Mets, previously of the New York Mets, with quite the situation that happened. Yikes. We're going to break all of that down. Ángel Hernández retirement, the Negro Leagues players officially being included in the MLB record books. Talk all about those things. The Braves without Ronald Acuña Jr. for the rest of the year, which just sucks. This week in Ohtani news as well. We got a lot to do today, but Alex, one, still your birthday week. Two, I saw you on your birthday.
Yeah, you guys, Ben crashed my birthday party. Had no idea where it was or where I was going to be. Had no idea you were going to be there. And then we have a mutual friend that came out. They're like, Ben's inside. I was like, Ben? My Ben?
That's literally what happened when I saw him. It's like, Alex is here?
Yeah. Ben, Alex. That was fun, though. That was great. Thank you for celebrating my
You're
birthday
welcome.
with
Thank
me
you.
on the show.
Thank you for inviting me to. I just showed up. That's just what I do. I was at a Grateful Dead
cover band
on
right
the pier.
Across the street. Yeah.
And happened to
It was so good. I got to pie you in the face for my birthday. You showed up to my birthday party. He did. He bought me a spicy marg. It was great. It was a great start to the week. And then, as you mentioned, so much has happened in the baseball world. What a dramatic week. But let's start with your Astros, because they did not look good this last week. Losing the series to the Mariners, now a handful of games under 500. I mean, I might say the one positive from this series was your brother still looking great. But yeah. Give me the feelings and the excuses now for the Astros.
Well, so yeah, I mean, they got back to a place where everything was right in the palm of their hands, right? Yeah. It's still May. They're 3.5 games out, entering a series with the first place team, the Seattle Mariners, and they really just looked awful the first few games of that series, and got to a place where they were 8 games under 500, 6.5 games back. We do record on Thursday evenings. They're 3 outs from winning that game against the Mariners. It's a 4-0 ball game. So let's say that they're going to be 7 games under 500 and 5.5 back. I mean, they had a real opportunity. You win this series, you're a game out of first place.
When you are playing the team that is ahead of you and first in the division, this is where you have to do whatever it takes. And when we were talking about this, I think it was last week, your worry meter for the Astros, I changed my tone a little bit for you and said, they have a chance. This is where, I'll take a step back, because they have 3 divisional series in a row. They had the Angels, the A's, and Seattle. They had a chance. They had such a great chance to gain some serious ground in the division, and they lost the series to the Angels and the Mariners. You can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Look, I am not going to sit here and defend the Astros. That was bad. And they had 7 consecutive games where they only scored a run in 1 inning. In 1 inning of each game, 7 games in a row, they only scored once. So some games were 1 run in that inning. Some games there was a game where they scored 5 in 1 inning, but they never scored. Here's the tweet from Sarah Langs. The Astros have scored in exactly 1 inning in 7 straight games, the longest streak since 1974. The MLB record was 8 straight, which they will not get to since they scored 4 runs today in different innings. So just really bad. You had all the opportunities in the world right in front of you. They had good pitching performances. Justin pitched great, 7 innings, 9 strikeouts, only 1 run, and you can't win that game. They lose that in extra innings. So it was just bad. And I'm not going to sit here and defend the Astros for the play that they had, but I do hope what everybody has realized, and including you, Alex, it was May. It is still May. Well, yeah, it's May. And they were in a position where if you just simply win a series against the Mariners, which they did not, they could have been a game out of first place.
But they didn't.
I know.
But they didn't. They did the opposite. And what they've done this season consistently.
But they got to a point where they were 3.5 back. And all I was hearing from not just you, from every fans of the Astros, fans of game of baseball, is that the Astros run is done. And we're sitting here at the end of May, and they got 3.5 games out of first place in the AL West. Yes, they lose a series. They're probably going to be 5.5 back. You can make that up in 1 week. 1 week. Why has everybody been freaking out all year? I really don't understand it, and I never did. Bad series for the Astros, bad losses. You lose to the Angels, you lose to the Mariners, you beat the A's, which you should beat them. But again, they're going to be 5.5 back. It's just, I never got it, and I still don't. They could make it up in a week. Why were we having playoff discussions? I don't get it. I never did.
I think the issue is, you just mentioned it, they went on a 7-game streak where they only scored in 1 inning. And how does that happen when you have some of the best bats in the league? When you have Kyle Tucker, who's tied for the league with 18 home runs with Gunnar Henderson, which, by the way, great guest this week. Check it out if you haven't checked it out yet. Yordan Alvarez, one of the scariest hitters when he's hot. Jose Altuve. I mean, how they have not found that consistency this season yet. And that's why there's a concern, and that's why you should be worried.
You're not going to catch me saying I'm worried in May. I wasn't worried when they were awful, and baseball's ebbs and flows. How does a lineup this good struggle? It happens to everybody over the course of the year. In fact, the offense hasn't been a problem all year long until this stretch of games where they couldn't really. The offense has been one of the best in baseball. You look at their numbers now at the end of May, right when they get back into contention, they struggle and they dip a little bit. But again, this is where my confusion has come all along, is they're now sitting 5.5 games back. This week, they could have overtaken first place in the division, and we were acting like our pets' heads were falling off. Again, let's pump the brakes. Worry meters at a 3. Astros, bad series against the Mariners. They had every opportunity right in front of them. It was frustrating to watch. The offense didn't show up when they needed to. The Mariners can pitch. That's what they do. That's how they win. They pitch. They pitched well against the Astros. That's why I think they're a good team. A lot of credit. I don't want this segment to be all about the Astros and their struggles and how they had it right in front of them. The Seattle Mariners deserve a ton of credit. That's why I was high on them this year, is because of that pitching staff. They pitch. Luis Castillo, Logan Gilbert, George Kirby. They're all nasty, and they deserve a ton of credit for continuing to lead that division, even despite an offense that's not really that great, but a missed opportunity for the Houston Astros.
Definitely. Okay, well, let's keep talking about pitchers, but let's move to New York and a really just weird, unfortunate situation that happened with Jorge Lopez, who got ejected after a very heated moment in the Mets game, and then threw his glove into the stands, talks to the media after the game, and everything that could have gone wrong in this situation basically went wrong for Jorge Lopez.
Yeah, I think just to set the scene, again, gets ejected after he gives up a homer to Shohei Otani.
Yes.
Mets are struggling. The wheels have been falling off.
Welcome to the club.
Shohei comes up, he gives up a homer, and then the next batter, there's a check swing. He was already frustrated. Umpire did not handle this well.
No.
Jorge Lopez maybe looks at him. Umpires hate getting shown up. Umpire, bucks back at him. Legitimately,
is he going to charge?
Right.
Are we going to get a fight?
And ends up ejecting Jorge Lopez.
Would that be a first? Has a umpire ever been involved in a fight?
I think that would be a first.
Hilarious.
Yeah. So he ends up walking off the field after his ejection, untucks his jersey, throws his glove over the netting into the stands. Not a good look there. And then afterwards is basically asked, do you regret your actions of throwing your glove in the stands? And he was like, no, I do not. And then there was some confusion about what he said afterwards, which came off as a little bit of jumbledness of, I've been the worst teammate in Major League Baseball. Also, like, maybe I've been like, we're the worst team in Major League Baseball. There was some confusion there, which caused quite the uproar. You can see it back here. The quote here says, "I think I've been on the worst team in probably the whole effing MLB." Then when it came out, like, maybe that's not what he said last night, Wednesday night, they went and asked him to clarify. And again, in the heat of the moment, he was just like, both. And then he got DFA'd that night. They announced he was going to get DFA'd on Thursday. So there's a lot to dissect here, and I want to try my best to do it. I want to start by saying Jorge Lopez is one of the nicer guys that I've ever come across in Major League Baseball. I met him at the All-Star game a few years ago. He was so kind and nice and caring, and came out on Thursday on his Instagram saying there was a misunderstanding. What I said is that I have been the worst teammate in all of the entire effing MLB, is what he said. But he ended up getting DFA'd because of it. And I just think there's a part to this that I think everybody needs to know. I think it's important to this situation.
Mm-hmm.
Jorge Lopez has a son at home that is sick and is awaiting a transplant. I'm not a father. Alex, you're not a mother.
No.
But I think we can all sympathize with a father that is going through this. I can't
even imagine.
I can't imagine
the emotions.
So to tell me that I'm going to have to speak a different language than one that I'm comfortable with and go in front of the media when I'm already down. The guy has missed time in the past for needing to step away from the game to work on his mental.
Yeah.
Stepped away from baseball to work on some mental illness issues. And now to be thrown in front of a camera cameras in New York City, when you have a child at home that is awaiting a transplant after you gave up a homer and you feel awful about it. Was it a bit of a tantrum out on the field? Sure. I think he would even admit that. But can we have a bit of compassion? And can we step back and see this person's going through something? You never know what people are going through at home. And for him to go through that and now all of this come out, I think a Major League GM is going to sign him immediately. I think this guy cares. I think he can pitch. He's an all-star a few years ago. He can pitch. He's struggling. I think somebody should pick him up immediately and let him be a part of their team. But this is just, it's a tough situation that I hope everybody can have some compassion for Jorge Lopez. It is frustrating to me. It is frustrating that I feel like he's been left out to dry by the Mets organization, by the PR staff of the Mets that aren't there thinking this guy's going to have to answer some pretty tough questions. Let's see if he wants to do it in English or in Spanish and make sure he has his wording properly done. I think he was left out to dry by his teammates with the New York Mets that probably know to some degree what's going on at home with him. So somebody step up and just be like, hey, this guy's going through a lot. Let's chill out. Things happen. Guys have bad days. You guys don't know what he's going through at home, but we stand by him with what he did out on the field. I just think he's been hung out to dry by so many people here, and it's frustrating. And I think we should all have a bit of compassion in this moment for Jorge Lopez, and I hope he finds a job soon.
Well, and honestly, I don't think it was that bad what he did on the field. We see pitchers all the time when they're getting taken out, throw a glove down, show emotion, get angry when they're on the mound. We see batters break their bats over their knee. Bryce Harper, that exact same day, was smashing the helmets and smashing inside the dugout because he was so frustrated. To see this kind of emotion, baseball needs more emotion. It was harmless what he did. He gave a fan a souvenir. It's not like
got a glove.
He didn't chuck it. You have to throw it over like an extremely high, what are they, nets? Yeah. The fan looked happy that he caught it. Like, it was just like, why? It was not even that bad. It was not that bad. And when you listen to the interview, if you actually listen to what he says teammate. I listened to that like 20 times and I'm like, I don't hear team. Why is the media running with the worst team in Major League Baseball? You can hear it's teammate. I am the worst teammate in Major League Baseball. And this is where the media also needs to do better. Like, they played a huge part in turning this into a viral gone wrong situation that cost him his job.
Yeah.
And that's sad.
Yeah.
And that sucks.
That's part of what he said he put out on Instagram, the story, just basically clarifying what he was saying. This was early in the morning, clarifying what he meant, and then saying the media has made this so much worse. Ended up later in the day on Thursday putting out a much larger statement, apologizing and clarifying his words, wishing the Mets organization well, all of that stuff. But yeah, I'm with you. It sucks. I felt like the decision was rash after those comments were made.
Talk to him. Have a conversation with him. Yeah. Hey, what's going on? Like, is everything okay?
There was some wording that I saw. The organization, like, apparently, look, this is a lot of hearsay involved in this story, but I heard like he wouldn't talk to them when they wanted to talk. And again, a bit of compassion for somebody that is going through some unspeakable, like unimaginable heartbreak at home. So I don't know. Tough. I hope Jorge Lopez, literally for years, I have been saying, man, I love Jorge Lopez. I actually texted producer Bartlett right as all this was happening saying, man, I love Jorge Lopez. He is the nicest guy. He was the happiest guy to be at the All-Star game, literally just oohing and awing over the players that were there. He was awesome. I fully support him and hope he finds a job, in just an unfortunate situation in which I don't think he had much support within the organization, from management on down to players on down to PR staff. I think everybody involved could have done better.
And it all started with Ramon de Jesus, who tossed Lopez, known to have a short fuse. And speaking of umps who have a short fuse, it was also announced this week that Angel Hernandez has retired, you guys. And this was a full celebration around Major League Baseball. I did not see one positive tweet out there. All I saw was incredible highlight reels of all of his horrible calls throughout his career as an umpire in Major League Baseball. I mean, I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, I'm more so just heartbroken. There's going to be a lack of Flippin' Bats content without Angel Hernandez in the league. Yeah, I mean, look, whenever you're an umpire and everyone knows your name.
Oh, yeah.
And you show up to a ballpark that night and you see an umpire out there and you know his face, you know his name. It's never, ever a good sign. Ever.
No.
So it was just, look, here's what I've heard. And I've seen stuff from players. I'm also friends with Eric Hosmer, and we talked about this situation.
Yeah.
And what I've heard is that there are definitely worse umpires in the league than Angel Hernandez, but at his worst, there's nobody as bad.
There's nobody.
Like, his bad calls are worse than anybody's in the league.
Do you have a favorite, like, ridiculous Angel Hernandez bad call?
I think it's pretty recent. Well, the Kyle Schwarber one to a couple years ago. Josh Hader on the mound, Kyle Schwarber at the plate was great. By great, I mean awful. But then most recently, Wyatt Langford. With the young rookie phenom for the Texas Rangers, this might be the worst that I've ever seen, and that's including, like, me playing in minor league baseball. Wyatt Langford was up at the plate, 3 straight pitches. I'm not kidding you, like 8 inches off the plate. Strike 1, strike 2, strike 3. Not a single one was close.
That is ridiculous.
And Angel Hernandez just does his signature, like, arm way up in the air, like he's waving for a hot dog vendor to come down from the stands. And it just didn't, it was just awful. But I will say this, Angel Hernandez had like a 43 year career in Major League Baseball. That's a hell of a career. It really is. So he's retiring. I'm going to miss you. I'm not going to miss watching games, but I'm going to miss talking about you. So it'll definitely be a lack of content there. But yeah, it was largely celebratory.
Yes.
I have never seen an umpire. It was like a celebration tour around baseball media and social media and the baseball world that an umpire was retiring.
No, it was talked about on, like, mainstream sports talk shows.
Yeah.
Like, full highlight reels just celebrating that he's gone. Like, it was incredible. Never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
But let's talk about some game-changing, actual incredible news that happened this week, because the Negro League players and legends will now officially be in Major League Baseball record book. So a huge shout out to everyone who made this happen, because it's about damn time. This is incredible.
Massive, massive shout out to Major League Baseball for getting this to happen. This has been a 3-year research project to bring this to life and make this all happening. So this isn't just one day on a whim, Commissioner Manfred waking up or Major League Baseball officials waking up saying, you know what we should do today? We should bring the stats from the Negro Leagues and put them in the MLB database. No, this is, just imagine, this was a 3-year project that has finally come to light. And the thing that I'm most excited about and proud about is this isn't just acknowledging these players from the Negro Leagues. This is real change.
Oh, yeah.
This is real change. And for those that aren't fully versed on what has happened over this week, Negro League statistics are forever going to be in the Major League Baseball database, and meaning there are players that immediately jump to the top of some leaderboards. Let's talk about a name, Josh Gibson.
Yeah.
Josh Gibson, who is now the all-time leader in the Major League Baseball record books for batting average. Move over Ty Cobb.
Incredible.
Josh Gibson is the new leader in batting average at 372. In OPS, move over Lou Gehrig, Ted Williams, and Babe Ruth.
Yep.
Who was number one? The new leader there is Josh Gibson. And in OPS, move over same 3 guys. Josh Gibson is the new leader in OPS, in slugging, and in batting average in the Major League Baseball database. So I think this is really cool. If you ever go to the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, Josh Gibson is there and has been there. But now I think what's cool is you go to the Hall of Fame and you see Josh Gibson. The wording is no longer going to be Josh Gibson was one of the greatest Negro Leagues hitters that ever existed. Now the conversation gets to be Josh Gibson was one of the best baseball players ever, period.
Love that.
And I think that's really cool and really special. And a couple of course there were naysayers out there and people that disagree by saying things like, hey, it was a different league. I don't know if are we just going to combine the stats of every league? Well, one, I got news for you. There are other leagues' stats that are already included in the MLB stat database. Multiple. And then you act like this league wasn't good enough. The NGL, the Negro Leagues, we know the names. Babe Ruth, Joe DiMaggio, Ted Williams have all been on record saying the talent in that league is just as good. It is incredible. So to act like the talent there wasn't good enough, no, there wasn't a skill barrier between the NGL and Major League Baseball. There was a color barrier. And I think being able to now bring those together is awesome. Jackie Robinson, when he did come over to Major League Baseball, won the 1946 NL MVP. After that season, 9 of the next 11 MVPs were black. How are we going to then sit there and say, well, the talent wasn't as good? Give me a break. This is awesome. Shout out to everybody that made this possible. A really, really cool day and cool special week and special time for the game of baseball as a whole. I'm just very proud to cover this sport and to get to highlight things that are happening. And this is one of the cooler things that I've gotten to talk about. This is awesome.
It's real change. And this is how you really move forward with real change, because now it's forever etched in the history books as just the greatest players who played the game of baseball, which is what it always should have been. Yeah. So once again, huge shout out to Major League Baseball and everybody that helped over the last 3 years to get the proper research to add the Negro League to Major League Baseball's official stats. Yeah. This is absolutely awesome.
Can you imagine how 3 years to go back and look at all the games, find all the box scores? Oh my God, that is so much work. I need to find out the names of people and just shake their hand. Their hands are probably raw from writing shit down, but good God, impressive stuff.
All right, well, Major League Baseball made their statement. Now it's time to make ours. Are you ready for these? It is time for making a statement. I'm going to give some bold statements. Ben is going to tell me if he agrees or disagrees with them. And let's get started with some heartbreaking news that happened earlier this week. The Braves are finished without Ronald Acuña Jr. this season.
It was a pretty unfortunate timing for us when we recorded on Sunday evening. We knew about the Ronald Acuña Jr. injury. All the information we had at the time was Ronald did not think it was the same as the ACL tear and thought he was going to maybe miss a month or so of time. Basically, right after we got home that night.
Yeah, it's like he's out for the season.
Ronald Acuña Jr. is out for the year. So now we're able to talk about that. And now you know the news. Ronald Acuña Jr. is out for the season.
Oh, I can't watch it.
With the torn ACL. Are the Braves finished without Ronald Acuña Jr.? To answer this question, let's step back. Let's go back in time. All the way back to 2021 when the World Series champions were the Atlanta Braves. Let me tell you what happened that year. Ronald Acuña Jr. tore his ACL and missed the rest of the season. So are they done without him? Absolutely not. They're still a really good team. They still have Max Fried pitching like a Cy Young winner out there. They still have Chris Sale looking like vintage Chris Sale. They still have Charlie Morton, who pitches great in the playoffs. They still have a fantastic offense. They're going to make a move. You remember the moves they made in 2021. They go get Eddie Rosario. They go get Jock Peterson. They bring in a bunch of names, and everybody's scratching their heads like, man, what are we doing? And they just pair Adam Duvall, and they just mixed and matched, and guys got hot during the playoffs. Eddie Rosario is unbelievable. They're going to go make moves and do a same sort of thing. So I think they're going to be okay. I think they can certainly get to the playoffs. I think they can win. I never at any point this year had them winning the World Series, and that was when they had Strider and Acuña. That sucks. That hurts them. They are not as good, but I still believe they are a better team than the majority of the National League. I think they'll be fine. They've done this again. They've done this before where my heart aches for Ronald Acuña Jr. This happened before. He said it was a nightmare. His life was miserable. And he basically came out again and just said, I feel like I let my team, the organization, the fans down. I go home at night and I'm miserable. I'm so upset. I cry at home by myself at night, feeling so bad for letting everybody down. I'm heartbroken for Acuña here. Are the Braves finished without him? No. 2021 is your most recent reference, and that's all you need. But I do feel awful for him.
What a turn of events from last season to this season for Ronald Acuña Jr. Winning the NL MVP, breaking records, he got married, then broke the record, then won the MVP. Like, he had such an incredible season, minus the Braves not going far in the postseason, to then just coming out this year with a slow start. We were kind of talking about, are we worried about Ronald Acuña Jr., to then this happening for the Braves. Now, they'll be a wild card team. They're currently that top wild card spot. I don't think they'll win the division without their best pitcher and best position player. Plus, the Phillies are just way too good right now. It's heartbreaking for Braves fans, but also the baseball world, because you never want one of the best players not on the field. And that's what's tough about this whole situation.
Yeah, I agree. I wish him a speedy recovery. I feel awful for him, and I think the Braves will be okay.
Yeah. All right, let's move to our next statement. The AL Central will have 3 playoff teams. They're red hot right now, which is crazy.
Asking me that question in February, I probably would have said,
not on the bingo card.
I wish the AL Central didn't have to have one playoff team. But with the way that works out, the division winner gets into the playoffs. And here's what I'm going to say now. This division has been one of the best divisions in all of baseball from top to bottom, with Cleveland, with the Royals, with the Twins. The Tigers are playing right around 500 baseball. The White Sox suck.
Yeah, I was like, well, what are you gonna say about the White Sox?
Entertainment
from top to bottom. Okay, I was like, you said top to bottom, and you can't really include the White Sox in there.
So the AL Central will have 3 playoff teams. I am going to disagree.
Yeah.
I'm strictly just playing the odds here. Do I believe 3 of them are going to make the playoffs? Right now, I don't think the Tigers are ready. I know I never did. I never thought this offense was going to hit. I hate that I've been right about that. The offense is a tough watch. But so we're going to talk about the Guardians, the Royals, and the Twins. I think 2 can get in. I don't know.
Yeah.
if I had to pick in this exact moment, I would probably say the Twins and the Guardians.
Oh. How red hot Kansas City has been. Bobby Witt Jr. just going off.
I hope Kansas City gets in. I would love that.
Dang.
But if I had to pick right now, what I was planning to do is come in here and saying, I'm gonna disagree. I think 2 of the 3 get in. And I think that would be wrong of me to just say 2 of 3 and not predict who I think might get out.
Okay.
Do I want it to happen? No. But the Royals are currently, if you look at the wild card race, they're in that second wild card spot. The Twins are in 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the Royals. I believe they were going to be a good team. I didn't see them being this good. Do I think they get into the playoffs? My gut has continually said no, but they can do something at the trade deadline and change my opinion. But I look at the wild card race, and I think there's just a lot of room for teams that are better. Rangers, defending World Series champions.
Yeah,
not playing well.
I think one of the Texas teams are going to take.
The Astros,
they're going to get in. One of the Texas teams will get one of those wild card spots.
The Astros right behind the Rangers. Once that game, they should be 5.5 games as we speak out of first place. 5 games out of that wild card spot.
Keep talking them up.
So, I will all year. Have been talking them up the standings. Might I remind you? So I think the answer is no. I'm going to disagree. I think 1 or 2 get in. I think I'll say 2 get in. The Twins and the Guardians will get in.
Dang.
So we'll see.
Okay.
They're bound to go. I think the problem with the Royals, I'm talking about I hope they get in. I'm talking about them like they are going to be the team. But I think the problem with the Royals is the lack of depth on the offense, and I think that needs to be addressed. And if they can address that, then I think I change this answer. We'll have this discussion later, but I really do believe if they just need to add depth to that offense, and the pitching staff has been great. I just think there's a lot of really good teams that are sitting down there starting to play better baseball. Are the Rays going to play better baseball?
Yeah.
They're always there in the conversation. You got the Rays, the Rangers, the Blue Jays, the Astros. Who's going to get hot and take maybe even 2 of those wild card spots? We'll see. So I'll disagree with this.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that the AL Central could have 2 teams in the playoffs, 1 in the wild card spot, but we're going to have either the Rangers or the Astros in one of those positions. And then when you look at the AL East, between the Yankees and the O's, someone's also going to be in one of those wild card spots. So it's like there's not a lot of room once we get down to September. Yeah. And we know that the good teams that have been there before make those runs late and get hot when they need to be. So, but it's fun to watch.
That division has been so much fun. The Guardians well over 500, 37-19.
Which
the
is
Royals
crazy.
Are 35-23. Bobby Witt Jr. If you start a franchise right now, tomorrow, and you can pick anyone, it's probably Bobby Witt Jr.
Yeah.
Bobby Witt Jr. and Gunnar Henderson, probably.
Dang.
I mean,
hot take.
That's how good he is. And the Twins started off awful, and they're 31-25. It really is a fun division. It really is.
Yeah, good. Talk about the White Sox. Say something nice. Say one thing nice about the White Sox.
I love their City Connects. Best City Connect uniforms in all of baseball.
Yeah, I'll agree. That was a good one.
Thank you.
Smart. Okay, we got one more statement for you. And this is some great moments for Padres fans, you guys. Jeremiah Estrada's strikeout record is unbreakable.
13 strikeouts in a row for Jeremiah Estrada. 13 in a row. That is the definition of dominance. Not a ball put in play. He has punched out 13 guys in a row, which is a record in the expansion era dating back to 1963. A record that he broke from a guy that's still pitching. Jose Alvarado for the Phillies was at 11 in a row. Estrada is at 13 in a row. That is a streak that is still intact.
Yep.
It is not over. He could continue to tack this on.
Cool.
As it currently sits, is Jeremiah Estrada's strikeout record 13 right now unbreakable? There's a lot of unbreakable records in baseball, and I don't feel like this is one of them. I mean, you can talk about Cy Young's win record. You bring up Cy Young, and he holds a record that's unbreakable. Wins, losses, whatever you want to talk about. I don't think this is one of them. Somebody's going to break that. Somebody. I mean, Mason Miller is a guy that could do it.
That's true.
Right now. I don't know.
The young stud.
I don't want to not make this about Jeremiah Estrada. This is a remarkable streak. The answer to the question, I'm going to disagree with. I do think this is a record that is breakable. But man, it has just been dominance. Nobody is touching the guy. He's filthy. He throws hard. His split change, whatever it is he's throwing, is disgusting. It's a lot of fun to watch. The Padres have been playing better baseball of late, and he's a big part of closing things down at the back end of the bullpen. So shout out Jeremiah Estrada for complete dominance in the game right now.
It's just the Padres have some great pieces, right? And they have the last couple of seasons, but they're still 6.5 games back from the Dodgers, kind of same as the Giants. And they've got some work to do if they want to keep that third wild card spot. Obviously, the Luis Arraez was a huge pickup, and having the back end of your bullpen like Estrada do things like this, are they going to be a playoff? I have them in as a wild card team. What you've seen so far, do you see them getting in as a wild card team?
What I've seen so far is a lot of injuries popping up. Musgrove, now Yu Darvish, after his last start this week, was taken out after 3 innings, and he's hurt. Fernando Tatis not playing well so far this year. So I'm going to say, from what I've seen, I think they can get in the playoffs. They're not. From everything
I thought you were going to go the other way. You're like, a lot of injuries.
Things
People
are falling apart. And
yeah,
I
I'm like, wait,
absolutely
what?
believe they're a playoff team.
What?
No, I just think if you look at the pitching side of things, health has played a big role in that rotation.
Yeah.
I think they're going to get healthier. I think the rotation is going to take some sort of shape and form and be better. I think Fernando Tatis is going to be better. Look, I think this is probably. They've probably gone through the worst they're going to be as a collective whole, and they're around a 500 baseball team, and the rest of the National League ain't exactly running away with anything. So, I'll say they can get it. I mean, look, they're 30-29 and currently in a wild card spot. And I don't even think they're firing on all cylinders.
I think they were like 5-5 in the last 10 games too. So they're holding on.
The Cubs with just a brutal series against the Brewers. The Cardinals are playing better, but who they're I think they're a playoff team for sure.
All right. Well, let's talk about the star on the team that's above them in the NL West. Shohei Otani, Ben. Take it away.
It is time for my favorite segment of all time, my friends. This week in Shohei Otani news, we're going to talk about him at the plate, as we do every single week. We're going to talk about with a little bit of an injury that he's dealing with currently that you can absolutely notice out on the field, and another increase in his throwing program. So let's start with him at the plate this week. Not great.
Not great. Like, pretty low stats for Shohei Otani standards. But, like, this is the great news for Shohei Otani, that he's on a great team now, that he doesn't have to be the guy every single week or the hero, and his team's still in first place.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do think just when everybody starts to think that things are bad and he's struggling and he goes to New York and he can't hit and the bright lights, just when you think he's cooling down, he hits an absolute tank in New York City. And really, all hell broke loose because of that. That's when the Jorge Lopez ejection happened, and
to the crumble.
That was tough. But
the beginning of the end.
I mean, you want to talk about him cooling down. He hit 174 on the week. He did just hit a homer to the opposite field. That's his sweet spot, is hitting tanks to the opposite field. This week has lowered his statistics on the year to a .330 batting average with 14 homers and an OPS still over 1,000. He is still on pace to have by far the best offensive year of his career, hitting .330 right now. So, yeah, it was a struggle at the plate for him, but don't for 1 second think when he starts cooling down. This is baseball.
Yeah.
You're not going to hit the ball hard every single day. You're going to go through ebbs and flows. This is, oh man, nobody can speak to that more than myself. I know I talk down about my baseball career often in a joking manner, but I was a pretty good baseball player. I had plenty of ups, and when you're riding that high, nobody can get in your way. Not a single pitch, not a pitcher, not 100-mile-an-hour fastball, not a slider out of the zone, because you're taking those with ease. When things are going great, they're going great. And that's true for the contrast of that. When things are going bad, it is hard to break out of it. And the best hitters in the world, and that includes Shohei Otani, are going to go through it. But the best hitters get out of it quicker than guys that aren't as good or aren't as consistent. And to see Shohei with that homer in Queens against the Mets on Wednesday, yeah, to me that just says, I say this, how many times have I said this? To tell when Shohei is locking in. When things aren't going well, ground balls to second base. Rolling over, ground balls, even when hit hard, ground balls to the second baseman. When things are going well, the ball is in the air going to left field. A line drive to left center, a towering fly ball to left center. That's when you know his swing is locked in and he's staying inside the ball. That's what I saw on Wednesday in Queens. That's how I know he's breaking out of this. And next time we have this discussion next week, I promise you the numbers will be better. That is a BVG. Ben Verlander guaranteed.
Oh, we haven't had one of those in a bit.
We have not. He will have a good week. He'll hit another homer. He'll drive in a bunch of runs. He'll probably hit over 300. Not probably. It's a BVG. He's going to hit over 300.
Okay.
He'll have 2+ homers on the week.
All right.
And, I don't know, 5 or more RBIs.
Dang.
Packing a stolen base.
The thing is, though, you guys, we've seen it this year already. Shohei Otani is not fazed by anything. He came into this year in a new team, in a new city, with a crazy situation happening with the, what are we calling it now? The theft scandal, gambling scandal,
theft.
From his best friend. Scandal. And he's still having the best start offensively to his career. Adam Wainwright was on The Herd Thursday morning, and he was talking about this list that Shohei Otani made when he was a kid. And he had every single year of his major league career mapped out of what he was going to do. I'm going to win a Cy Young this year. I'm going to win an MVP this year. I'm going to win this year. And when you have that kind of mentality at 10 years old, when you're in this situation right now and stuff's not going your way, you're going to be fine because you have mentally prepared for this moment your entire life.
Yeah.
And we're seeing this.
You know, it's exactly what I just said with the struggles and going through it. When I struggled, my thought would be, oh, man, am I ever going to get a hit again? Am I going to get released because I'm not playing well? When Shohei struggles, as in goes through like 5 games of struggling a bit, he has his career is predestined. Yeah. He knows what's happening. He has everything mapped out. He knows how good he is. He knows how good he can be. And yeah, there's going to be ebbs and flows throughout a career, throughout a season. And he knows it's going to get turned around because, of course, it does.
Yeah. Oh, and also he's dealing with a hamstring contusion through all of this. So he's wearing what they said, it's a governor that monitors how fast that he's running.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can honestly see this. I didn't know this was the case until this came out, but this was the tweet. Shohei Otani has been nursing a hamstring contusion in the last week. He's been running with a governor. He was not going full speed on his triple tonight, but Roberts didn't make it sound like a huge deal. That's actually when I noticed it. He had a triple down the right field line.
Casual.
And was the most casual triple you'll see. And I was like, Shohei, you should probably
like you're also like one of the fastest guys in the league.
And he just was
casual.
It was kind of just going like just going.
Jogging.
And that's why. It's because he is wearing something that kind of controls how fast he's running.
Yeah.
And so he's dealing with a little bit of something. He's wearing a guard to protect that and protect how fast he's running, which is honestly crazy, but you can't afford to have him out of the lineup. So he keeps on going out there and hitting homers on Wednesday. And crazy to see that though. When that came out,
Makes
I was like,
sense.
I know he doesn't normally run like that.
No, he's given 110 always.
Doesn't normally just mail it in and think he's coasting. So
yeah, he did. It was a nice wee. Oh. That was scary, though, the landing. I was like, his hand. That was like the first thing I thought about. Like, no more injuries, please. We got the contusion. Obviously, he's coming back from the elbow surgery. But the good news there is his throwing program has also increased. So there's so many things this man is dealing with and still doing incredible.
Yep. Throwing program increases again. Things are going as planned. According to plan, again, the plan is for him to pitch next year. And he continues to ramp up to that. And, their pitching coach, Mark Pryor, recently said by playoffs, Ohtani is facing live hitters in BP. That is the plan. So now we're seeing him basically throwing, like, flat grounds, which is cool to see. So, throwing a lot, throwing harder, backing up a little bit, throwing flat grounds. Things are good in the world of Shohei Otani's right arm and right elbow. So not the best week offensively. His 2024 season statistics at the plate are still remarkable, still leading Major League Baseball in slugging and in total bases. And that does it, my friends, for my favorite segment this week in Shohei Otani news. What you got this weekend? Anything fun? That does it for this show.
Yeah.
Friday, we're done.
Yeah.
We're heading into the weekend.
I love it.
What you got? You're all over the map during the weekends.
Yeah, I got a fun event in Venice. It's gonna be there all weekend if you want to go check it out.
I'll crash it.
Yeah, come crash my event again. It'll be great.
I'll crash it.
Yeah.
Love that.
Got puppies. I'm gonna have a full house of puppies, like 4 puppies at my house. Crazy dog lady. I think that's what I've become.
All for listening. Saturday with Smoltz tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's also part of our weekend. We'll be listening to Saturday with Smoltz. That comes out tomorrow. I did talk to him all about that Ronald Acuña Jr. injury and how they're going to get through that, what the Braves can do if he ever experienced anything like that with his Braves teams and being able to overcome that. A really good conversation with John Smoltz, as we do have every single Saturday. But thank you all for listening. Make sure you're subscribed wherever you listen to your podcast, Apple, Spotify, wherever. Hit that subscribe, follow button. That really does help. Also, follow along on all social media, including YouTube. You can watch everything we do on our YouTube channel, Flippin' Bats Pod there. But that does it, my friends. Enjoy the weekend, everyone. Saturday with Smoltz tomorrow. We are back Monday with another episode. But that does it for this one. And remember, everyone, find your bat and flip it.